This is why INFJs disappear. You might think they're ghosting you. You might assume they've lost interest, or that you did something wrong. But when an INFJ disappears, it's almost never about you. Their silence is not a rejection, it's a retreat. Their vanishing act is not carelessness, it's an act of survival. Among all the 16 personality types, INFJs remain the most mysterious. They are known as the rarest, the advocates, the dreamers, the old souls who seem to walk this earth with a quiet purpose that most people can sense but never quite understand. They care deeply, often too deeply, about the emotions and well-being of others. They notice everything, feel everything, absorb everything, and in a world that rarely slows down, that sensitivity can become too heavy to carry. So when INFJs disappear, it's not because they've stopped caring. It's because they've been caring too much for too long. This video explores the reasons why INFJs vanish, from relationships, friendships, workplaces, and even social spaces. Each reason reveals a deeper truth about what it means to be a deeply intuitive, empathic, and idealistic soul in a noisy, often disconnected world. 1. Emotional overload and energy drain. The first reason INFJs disappear is emotional exhaustion. INFJs are emotional sponges. They absorb not only what people say, but what they feel. They can sense tension in a room even when no one is speaking, and they can feel someone's pain even when it's hidden behind a smile. This sensitivity, while beautiful, can also be overwhelming. Imagine being in a crowded room filled with people whose emotions hum like static in the air. For most, it's background noise. For an INFJ, it's like standing next to a dozen radios, all tuned to different stations, all at once. Eventually, it becomes too much. They don't withdraw because they want to. They withdraw because they have to. Their energy doesn't come from social connection the way it does for extroverts. It comes from solitude, from stillness, from moments of deep inner quiet. When the world becomes too loud, INFJs disappear into silence. They seek out space where they can decompress and process everything they've absorbed, every tone, every glance, every word that carried hidden meaning. This emotional overload often goes unnoticed by others, because INFJs rarely complain. They're the ones who listen, who hold space, who make others feel understood. But behind that calm exterior is a storm of empathy, constantly active and draining. Their disappearance is a form of emotional triage, stepping back to heal before they break. 2. The deep empathic burnout. The second reason INFJs disappear is what could be called empathic burnout, because INFJs feel responsible for the emotions of others. They give until there's nothing left. They'll listen to a friend's heartbreak at midnight, absorb a coworker's stress, or try to fix tension in a group, even when it's not their responsibility. Over time, this constant giving becomes unsustainable. They begin to sense that they are carrying the emotional weight of everyone around them. It's like holding your breath for hours while trying to keep everyone else afloat. Eventually, something inside them whispers, "Enough." When this happens, INFJs don't usually announce their need for distance. They simply vanish. They slip into solitude quietly, hoping no one will take it personally. They need to be alone to restore their sense of balance, to reconnect with themselves. This is not selfishness, it's self-preservation. The INFJ's internal world is sacred ground, and when it becomes contaminated with too much external noise, they retreat to cleanse it. What looks like distance is actually a sacred ritual of renewal. And when they come back, they often carry with them a deeper clarity, a renewed strength, and a heart once again capable of empathy. 3. Fear of being misunderstood. The third reason INFJs disappear is their lifelong experience of being misunderstood. From a young age, many INFJs feel different. They perceive things others don't, feel emotions others dismiss, and think in layers that most people never explore. When they try to express themselves, they're often met with confusion, judgment, or indifference. This repeated misunderstanding creates a quiet ache within them. Over time, they begin to expect it. They learn to keep their deeper thoughts and feelings hidden, showing only what they think others can handle. But hiding comes with a cost. Every conversation that stays on the surface feels hollow. Every moment they censor themselves feels like a small betrayal of who they truly are. And eventually, they reach a breaking point when they realize that being around people who can't or won't understand them is more lonely than being alone. So they disappear, not out of anger, but out of quiet resignation. They retreat into the safety of solitude, where their inner world can breathe without judgment. If you've ever had an INFJ friend who seemed to vanish just as you thought you were getting close, it may be because they felt unseen, unheard, or unvalued for who they truly are. Their withdrawal isn't punishment, it's protection. To understand an INFJ is to give them the rare gift of depth, patience, and sincerity. When that's missing, they fade away like mist, leaving behind the echo of a connection that could have been. 4. Desire for authenticity in a surface-level world. The fourth reason INFJs disappear is their hunger for authenticity in a world obsessed with appearances. INFJs crave meaning. They can't thrive in shallow conversations, performative friendships, or environments where connection is transactional. They long for realness, people who say what they mean, feel what they feel, and live what they believe. But in modern culture, authenticity is rare. Social media celebrates image over truth. Many relationships are built on convenience, not connection. For an INFJ, this dissonance is painful. They see the mask, they sense the act, and it drains them. So when they sense that a friendship, workplace, or community has become too artificial, they quietly step away, not in anger, not in protest, but because their soul refuses to live in pretense. They disappear to realign with what feels genuine. They spend time in solitude, journaling, reflecting, or reconnecting with nature, anything that reminds them that truth still exists, even if it's rare. And when they return, it's often with a new sense of direction, a deeper commitment to living authentically, and less tolerance for the superficial. Their disappearance, in this sense, isn't an ending. It's a recalibration of their inner compass toward what truly matters. 5. The need for inner recalibration. The fifth reason INFJs disappear is their instinctive need for inner recalibration. INFJs are constantly processing, analyzing patterns, observing behaviors, sensing emotional undercurrents. Their intuition is always active, scanning for meaning, but even intuition needs rest. When too many stimuli accumulate, when too many emotional threads intertwine, their internal system becomes overloaded. They begin to feel detached from themselves, like they've lost their inner signal. In these moments, they disappear, not to escape others, but to find themselves again. Solitude for an INFJ is like returning to a familiar language. It's the space where they can decode their own feelings, realign their purpose, and rediscover what truly resonates with them. During these periods, they may seem distant or unresponsive, but inside, something sacred is happening. They are recharging the very core of their being. Their disappearance is not a wall, it's a doorway. And when they emerge, they bring with them renewed insight, often clearer about who they are and where they're going. To love an INFJ is to respect these silent disappearances, to understand that solitude is not rejection, but restoration. 6. Protecting their inner world. The sixth reason INFJs disappear is the need to protect their inner world. Their imagination, ideals, and emotional landscape are rich and intricate. They live in a world of symbolism, intuition, and deep moral values, but not everyone respects or understands that depth. When someone mocks, invalidates, or trivializes their inner experiences, it feels like a personal violation. So they build boundaries, not with confrontation but with silence. They pull back, sometimes completely, to keep their inner sanctuary safe from cynicism or manipulation. This doesn't mean INFJs are fragile. It means their inner world is sacred, and they protect it with quiet determination. They know that not everyone deserves access to their vulnerability. Disappearing, then, becomes a form of spiritual hygiene, a way to cleanse themselves from energies or influences that distort their truth. For those who value them, this retreat may feel confusing, but to the INFJ, it's an act of loyalty to themselves, to their integrity, to their peace. They disappear not to punish others, but to preserve the purity of their inner world. 7. The silent test of trust. The seventh reason INFJs disappear is subtle. They are testing the depth of trust. INFJs don't trust easily. Their intuition allows them to read people deeply, often picking up inconsistencies between words and actions. When something feels off, they don't always confront it directly. Instead, they observe, and sometimes they withdraw. This withdrawal isn't manipulation. It's a quiet test. Will you notice? Will you care enough to reach out? Will you understand without them having to explain? Because for INFJs, trust isn't built on constant words, it's built on presence, consistency, and emotional attunement. If someone fails that test, not by malice, but by indifference, the INFJ takes it as confirmation that the bond wasn't mutual. And once that trust is broken, their disappearance becomes permanent. They won't make a scene, they won't seek closure. They simply fade out of alignment with what no longer feels safe. To them, silence is more honest than confrontation. It's not revenge, it's release. 8. Transformation and rebirth. The eighth and final reason INFJs disappear is transformation. INFJs live in cycles of growth. Every few years, they shed old identities, beliefs, and even relationships that no longer align with their evolving truth. It's a natural part of their intuitive evolution. When an INFJ disappears during the stage, it's because they're undergoing a deep metamorphosis. They are questioning everything, what they believe, who they are, where they belong. They may change careers, passions, or entire life paths seemingly overnight. To outsiders, this sudden shift can seem abrupt or confusing, but to the INFJ, it's essential. They can't stay in places where their soul no longer fits. Their disappearance is not a rejection of others, it's a return to authenticity. They are not running away from life. They are running toward their next truth. And when they emerge again, they often appear transformed, wiser, calmer, more grounded, carrying lessons that could only be learned in silence. INFJs disappear for many reasons, but at the core, it always comes back to one thing: preservation of meaning. They are not made for noise, chaos, or superficiality. They are made for connection, depth, and transformation. When the world becomes too heavy, too false, or too loud, they retreat into the only space that can hold their full complexity, their inner world. And though their absence can be confusing to others, it's never malicious. It's an act of quiet love, love for truth, love for peace, and love for the delicate balance that keeps their empathy alive. If you've ever lost contact with an INFJ, don't assume they've stopped caring. Their silence might simply be their way of healing. And if they return, they often do so with an open heart, carrying new insight, still quietly wishing the best for those they once held dear. The INFJ's disappearance is not a vanishing act, it's a return home, a journey inward where they remember who they are, so that when they come back to the world, they can love it once again, with full, undivided presence.